Selamat datang and welcome to this episode from Kemuncak Awakening, where in Kemuncak Awakening we are trying to learn from people who has got peak or Kemuncak experiences in their lives. So in today's episode, I'm very happy to have Eileen Lim together with us. All right, and just before I ask her to introduce herself, Eileen is for me a person which is full of zest. All right, yeah. So I've known Eileen for quite a number of years. Okay, she's a wife for 43 years, right? Yeah, she's a mother to 3 children. She's a grandmother to 4 grandkids. Okay, right. So Eileen reminds me of a person who is living a full life. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm reminded of a lady by the name of Linda Gretton, who's written a book called The 100-Year Life. So in that book, dear viewers, Linda was mentioning that we should not stop living, all right, or retire from life at the age of 60. All right. We should look forward to a full life, especially when you're past 60 and past 70. And for me, Eileen, you are the role model for that.
Oh, no,
right?
thank you.
Living a full life. So let me give you a bit of background about Eileen. She is full of passion for personal and leadership development, all right? And she is associated with John Maxwell's Million Leaders Mandate program. All right, so I'll ask her to explain that a bit more to you. So today's focus or today's topic is called Beyond Success to Significance. Right, yeah, so I'm just so eager to listen to Eileen and to know what's her secret. All right, so before you tell us your secret, tell us more about yourself, Eileen.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris, for having me today. My pleasure indeed to have this opportunity to speak with you and the audience in relationship to leadership, which is closest to my heart. You're very kind with your words. I don't feel that I'm any extraordinary compared to a lot of people my age. But I learned it from very young that we don't retire, we refire. And whatever energy, whatever experiences we have, it is always an opportunity to share with other people. And therefore, I'm just doing that. I'm just living out what I believe in. And I've been doing that for a long time now. I'm currently involved with Beyond Success, which is a global initiative created by Dr. John C Maxwell. Now, I think many of you know or heard about Dr. John C Maxwell. I don't think I need to do a long introduction on him. But what I personally know, I've known, I work with his company, an NGO called EQUIP, which stands for Equipping Qualities Underdeveloped in People for a long time now. I think easily it's been about 15 to 17 years. And the reason is because I admire what John is doing and still continues to do. Major part of his life, he started at the age of 25. And now he's already, I think this year he's 77, if I'm not mistaken. And he's still talking about leadership. He's still training people, coaching people about leadership. And I find that amazing because he's very consistent in what he believes in and what he wants to do with the world. And therefore, I got involved with one of his early programs known as the Million Leaders Mandate. It is, again, a global initiative. And by the time we concluded that vision of his, it was already 20 years. And we managed to be involved with 196 countries, literally training ordinary people to be leaders and step into leadership. And there are about over 5 million of them. That concluded in 2014. And some people will ask, how is that possible? That's a huge number. But you see, according to what John believes in, he subscribes to the view that leadership is about the power of influence. And if it's about influence, anybody can be an influencer. And if you are an influencer, obviously then you can step into leadership, because then you can use it to positively influence other people with whatever aspirations, whatever visions you have. And that's what John feels, because as we all know, everything rises and falls on leadership. And leadership is so important. But because of our understanding, or most of us have the understanding that leadership is just about appointments and positions, many so-called undiscovered leaders do not step forward to provide the kind of service or step into leadership, so to speak. And therefore, there will be a lot of wasted talents and experiences, I think. But by subscribing to what John said, in leadership is about influence, then I can also use my platform or whatever experiences I have to influence people and help them to understand that all of us can do our part to be a leader, to positively influence someone. And if everybody takes that up, I think the world is no longer the same. Yes.
Right. What I've got from you, Eileen, is from equip. You're trying to equip, all right, ordinary people to be influencers. That's what I'm getting from you, right? And so, dear viewers, from what I know about Eileen, she has helped people from Malaysia, from Cambodia to Indonesia to Philippines, all right? And so you're talking about, helping people to discover their talent, all right, help them to be influencers, to be leaders. And when you have worked through or you look through a lot of experience here, maybe share with us what's stopping people from feeling that they are influencers or leaders in your experience, and and how has Equip helped them to discover their potential?
Okay, I think Equip, that is that organization created by John, is basically to help people to rediscover their potential, which many of us might not be aware of. But the current global initiative which we are doing, known as Beyond Success, helps people to see transformation within themselves. And of course, when we talk about transformation, it's just difficult to explain what is transformation. Transformation can only be experienced. It cannot be explained. And Beyond Success is the initiative whereby people can come in to experience that transformation in themselves, as well as to see transformation in the people who are participating in the team or the group as well. And this is what John aspires to do, is to motivate people to transform the world. Firstly, to discover ourselves, because transformation begins with me. If we want to change the world, we don't start changing the person next to us. But John says that it should start with us. And many, many great leaders believe in that as well. Like Gandhi used to say, be the change you want to see. So you got to start with us. And therefore, Beyond Success enable people to do that to see transformation in themselves. And the structure is very simple. The structure is purely facilitation. So what do we do? When people participate in Beyond Success, they basically do self-reflection, which means we give them a notebook and there are questions and they're supposed to prepare the answers, and the preparation will enable them to assess or reflect themselves on various topics. We have about 6 topics, and the main one starts with attitude, which is the big thing in anybody's life, because we always say attitude determines your altitude. So it will challenge you to kind of reflect on yourself. How do you rate yourself in terms of your own attitude? Now, we are not talking about comparison here. Most of the time, we tend to compare ourselves with people, and we never measure up, because we measure with people who are so much better than us, and therefore we just give up trying. But if you do reflection, then we'll be able to understand ourselves, our strengths, our weaknesses, and of course, in terms of weaknesses, we can then take tangible steps to improve. And that's what Beyond Success aspires to do, is to encourage you to do self-assessment. And now that you understand yourself, how are you going to move forward to improve? And therefore, if you intentionally want to do something about improvement, then you'll be able to see transformation. So it is a very effective, and I've seen transformation in many people. I've been doing this for 8 years now. I'm the regional director of Beyond Success for Southeast Asia. And it is such a joy to see people change. And I myself too, of course, have been little bit changed and still continue to change, because transformation is a process. Yes, that's what Beyond Success aspires to do.
Thank you for that explanation, Eileen. Now we go on to the third topic in the Beyond Success series. Share more about the third item.
The third topic is about priorities. Now, many people think that priorities is about time management, but in the context of John, it is not, because priorities is always linked up with decision making. So if you know your priorities, you will know how to make good decisions in a way, because you will do those things which are important and urgent to you, not to another person. Because what is important and urgent to me might not be important and urgent to you. And in priorities, John talked a lot about the Pareto principle. Now, by the way, for every lesson, there is a short video by John whereby he will share pointers as well as his own personal experiences on respective topics. And therefore, every topic we will have a short video by John, and on top of that, we have some notes in the book. So priorities got to do with, as I mentioned a while ago, is about making right decisions. And he emphasizes a lot on the Pareto principle. And I think many of us who are in the corporate would have heard, or possibly we would have used the Pareto principle in many things in management. So I'm not going to talk too much about that. But what I learned from Beyond Success in relation to priorities, which were very helpful to me, is what John calls the 3 R's. The 3 R's, the first one is requirement. So John says that we should only do things what is required of me. In other words, only I can do it, and nobody is expected to do it and can do it. For example, I'm the regional director of Southeast Asia, and obviously my first priority will to launch as well as to expand Beyond Success in respective countries, and there are 8 countries, and that would be my priority. And nobody can do that for me. I will have to hate that. So that is requirement. And secondly, it is about returns. Returns in the sense that John encourages people to use their strength to do what they're good at. So if we use our strength, obviously we don't work a day, because that's what we do best. And then we'll move on to the third R, that is reward. So if you use your strength to do the task which you are good at, obviously you'll be able to see positive returns. So it is a win-win for everyone. So from there, I learned from John that it is important for me to emphasize and to practice the 3 R's in my life. And I just started it when I learned Beyond Success. I've never heard about that, from any other book I've read. And also talk about delegation. Yeah, in the priorities, it is important for us to learn how to delegate jobs to people or to our team, for example. And of course, before we can delegate, we have to understand our team. As I share with my team, that we must know each and everyone who is on our team, their strength, their weakness. Because if we know their strength, that if we need to delegate jobs or tasks to them, we must also use their strength. Not just anybody, or I can't do this, I just pass it on to anybody. But if I understand my team, I know my team well, I would then delegate the task for the best person who can do it well. So delegation is a powerful tool, because as John always says, we can do anything, but we cannot do everything, and they do it well. But of course, we love to think that only we can do it well, but there is a time limit to what we can do and how much we can do. So I think it is useful if we give that priority to delegate tasks which I don't have to do, and possibly I don't do so well. I'll delegate to my team, to whoever is good at, and then I need to follow up on what I've delegated to them. And then I can be assured a couple of things will happen. Firstly, I'll be able to develop them further, to take responsibilities. And secondly, I can be assured that the job is being done, and it will be done well, because that's his strength. So I think these are the little things which John shares in the Beyond Success. But it is so very helpful for lay people like me, and I believe in many people, because we always want to do first in, first out, or we try to do everything accomplished within a day, which is quite impossible. I mean, even if you can do the best you can, and it might not be to your satisfactory or satisfaction. So I find that useful in priorities, and now I do just that. I delegate a lot of tasks to my team, and that frees me to do things which I do well, and of course which are important to be done by me and me alone.
All right, yeah. So priorities, yeah. So Eileen has just explained the 3 R's a bit earlier. So I can see how is it important that we know what's required of us, as you said, right? Yeah. And the second one is return. So using our best strengths, okay. And if we do that, what I understand from Eileen is that then it can be a very rewarding for us.
Yes.
All right, rewarding experience for us. So the same thing as what Eileen is mentioning is that don't try to do everything yourselves. Okay, learn how to work with others, learn how to delegate. To help them to understand their requirements, their strengths, their returns, all right, and make it rewarding for the person who's doing this work with you. One additional question that I would like to check with you, Eileen, yeah, is that when I journey with a lot of people today, I find that many people perhaps are losing their direction. All right, they are, being or experiencing aimlessness in their lives. All right, either these are like people who just got out of school, or I can even talk about people who are aimless, maybe midway of the career. Right, so I know that you have worked with school children, all right? I know you worked with teachers before. How can we help people to be more purposeful or apply or understand their priorities in life better? Is there any advice?
Of course, even knowing our right priorities and trying to do the right things, first, it is a process. I think we need to understand in the first place what is important. Because some people think that everything given to us is important. But then I learned to ask questions, and we should ask questions. Is this urgent? Is this important? And when do you want it done? And I asked that of Equip, I asked that from my husband, so that I know whether I need to address and do it now or I do it later. So I guess the first thing first, for anybody who want to learn how to prioritize, we need to understand for ourselves what is important to me. Now, to some people, playing video games is very important. Everything comes to a standstill. I need my computer games. But if you really understand priority, if you ask the question, how will computer games help you to advance in life? Maybe in the competition you'll be the champion, that's about it. But does that really help you in life? And of course some people argue to say it sharpened my mind. Okay, I agree with that as well. But that doesn't help you in life, just sharpening your mind, right? You need to understand what is important to you in your life. Because I learned from Beyond Success, decision making is always linked to the importance of the issue to you. And by understanding that, it will help you then to really segregate what is important, which you need to address immediately maybe, and what is not so important, which you need to do later on. So I guess even when the teacher, when he speaks to the students, firstly, let's say if you give them an assignment, you have to tell them when is the deadline. If you say the deadline is tomorrow, obviously everybody have to finish by today. But if the teacher tell them, okay, you are supposed to pass it up in a week's time, so you are in a way teaching them how to manage the time. That you do have time, you don't have to do it immediately, but you need to accomplish it or finish it by such and such a time. I think that's the first step at a young age, that we don't expect children to do everything at the same time. I mean, that's all the time they have. So, but if you give them pressure, they wouldn't know how to decide. They would think that, I have 10 homework and I have to finish it now. But not really. That depends again when is the expectation whereby you need to pass up your work. I think that little bits of process will help children to understand. You don't have to do everything at the same time. And therefore, maybe as you gradually grow, then you understand the priority, what is important to them. And then from there, we will learn gradually. But as I say, they need to understand what is important to you. Some people will do things, let's say, to please their friends, but that's important to the friends, but it's not important to me.
Right.
You can still help them maybe at a later stage when you get your things done. But because we don't go through the process, maybe some people find it difficult to say no because they don't want to offend the friend or they don't want to upset the friend. But here again in life, you cannot do everything and anything. So it's still a personal choice as to, again, ask yourself, what is important to me? Is this urgent? That's the next question. I think that will be helpful.
All right. So we sort of relate this back to the first factor again here about attitude, right? So again, attitude is making that choice.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I learned from Eileen just a moment ago, right? So you talk about children a bit earlier. I related to the workplace, because in the workplace there's customer demands. All right, your manager is putting on everything on your table, okay, and your colleagues is asking for a lot of requests, okay. And so what I hear from you, Eileen, is take a moment, ask yourself the right question, all right. And instead of being reactive to it, take a proactive approach. That's what I'm understanding, right? Yeah. So that's the difference between urgency and importance. A lot of things can be very urgent, all right? And
urgent to me, but not urgent to you. The person asking you for the favor, is very urgent, but it's urgent to him, but not urgent to me. I don't have the time to do it. And I learned something which I caught from my son when he taught his son, that's my grandson. And I find it very useful, even at a young age, about 10, 11, he will always drum into him, Jaden, remember, every decision has consequences. Which is the big word, maybe consequences to the young fellow. But when we reflect on it, it's true. Right? Our decision is so important in our life. And of course, there are consequences. Good consequences, bad consequences. But there's no such thing as status quo. There will be consequences. And I think if we give a little bit more of time to think about that, then we might make wiser decisions. Because we think, decision make is over, but it's not that. Sometimes it has grave consequences.
Relate to it, right? I think at every stage in our life, we've got to clarify what's important to us. Yeah, right. So even Eileen's grandson, right? What's important for me right now, right? To live a significant life. Right. So that is lesson 3, correct?
Yes. Lesson 3, priorities. Yes. Lesson 4 is about relationships. This is a very important topic, I think, where I'm concerned, because I'm a Christian and I know Christianity is all about relationships. Relationship with God, relationship with fellow being. But even in daily life, I think relationships is what makes the world goes round. Because we are created for community. We are not called to be an island. And everybody needs friends and must have friends, because we need to communicate, we need to share joys, we need to share sorrows. So a relationship is a very important part of a value in society, I would think, and also in our own life. Because if we can build good relationship with other people, especially even among races in any country you are in, it will help to minimize conflict. Minimize the conflict because we are friends, we understand each other, and then nobody can divide us because we know each other, we understand each other, we have a relationship. And I think that's important. And nowadays, I think relationship is not so cohesive these days, especially, if I may say so, among the young people, because they are so much into computer games, they are so much into their handphone, into the Instagram, into the TikTok. So everything is press button, but they don't really then have the time nor the priority to spend time with their friends. I won't say all, but I think majority of them, especially, So if we do not have the kind of a relationship with people, you tend to be very much aloof. And before you know it, you are very much on your own, and you can survive on your own. But as I say, that's not a good thing, because it is not able to give you the kind of joy whereby you can share relationship with people. And especially if you are a leader with a team. It is important for us as a leader to be able to have a good relationship with the team, and try to build good relationship with the team, because John says people don't go along with you unless they get along with you, and therefore he encourages be a person that they can get along with. And if you want to be a person people can be able to get along with, we need to build that relationship. We need to build that understanding. We need to spend time to cultivate that relationship. And therefore, it is very important in having good relationship with people. And I really like this principle which John shares. He says the law of connection says, touch the heart before you ask for the hand. You know, it is so important for us to be able to kind of like people, and everything starts with the heart, of course, because we are emotional beings, we have feelings. But if anybody does something which touches the heart, I think it makes a world of difference to who we are and how we live a life. I can still remember someone sent me a slide about this elderly person. You know, this elderly person whereby he was looking down on a young girl, and the young girl actually is barefooted. She had nothing on. And the picture shows that the elderly man has taken off the sandals and to pass it to the young girl. And the picture shows that the young girl was crying. And what does it tell us? Basically, in the first place, this elderly person does not know the young girl at all, right? But he has the urge to bless her or to pass his own sandals or slippers to her, because this girl absolutely is barefooted. And of course, to the girls, she cried because she doesn't even know this uncle. But this uncle is willing to sacrifice his pair of slippers for her. So that picture, I learned a lot of things from there. Firstly is, I question myself. If I were in the old man's shoes or the uncle's shoes, would I have done the same? I'm not sure whether I would have done the same. And secondly, I will also know for sure that this girl, as she grows up, she will always share the kind of caring attitude as this old man have expressed to her. There's to sacrifice some of the things which we have for those people who do not have. And that is in what John says is seeing a value in people and adding value to people, which we're going to talk in lesson 6. So I think that is also in a way building a silent relationship, although he doesn't know her. But it speaks 1,000 words as to how he perceives the girl, that she is a person of value. And she would like to extend, to build a friendship with her, first by doing that. So I think relationship building is really so important, you know, in uniting people, as I say, in giving the joy, you know, in giving the joy of sharing life with people. And that's another story which I want to share, which I can still remember right now. It's about this Indian uncle who lives in our village. You know, many years ago, those days, we were all in villages. Of course, we have different races in villages, but nevertheless, we are in community. So this uncle, I can still remember, he will wear a staunch white uniform, and his job is to sell ice Milo. And he will make a big, a kind of a van which has a Milo tin, you know. And early morning, he will set out to sell ice Milo outside. But by the evening, you'll be surprised if you come to our village, you'll see a long queue of children queuing up with cups, with containers, with bottles. What are we doing? We were waiting for the uncle to come back. And you say that, why is that so? Because this uncle, when he returns, he will give away every drop of Milo, what is remaining in the van of his, you know. And all of us will be so jubilant to enjoy that sweet Milo. And it gives us such a good feeling because we are not related to him in any way, right? We don't need to be a good girl to deserve that cup of Milo. He gives it to you anyway. So there is a friendship between us. And at the same time, it also gives us that we are being valued as children, you know, because he gives it all. And he might not even remember our names, but to him, everyone is equal. And I think that's what a relationship helps to build. This silent bond between people, and everybody feel valued, everybody feel good about themselves, and it gives you a kind of so much more meaning in life, isn't it? That we are human beings, we are not robots, we are not mechanical in any way.
Makes sense. So we are still talking about the topic of living a significant life, right? And so what I hear from Eileen a bit earlier, and I love this story about this Indian uncle selling ice cocoa or ice Milo. I grew up old enough to know that I've seen this kind of folks before. So for me, my 3 takeaways from this story that you shared, Eileen, about relationship is that relationship is built on generosity. All right, I think you're right about what this Indian man did to give this free Milos away. And the second thing is affirming people or knowing people or valuing people. And it brings back the story about that girl. All right, yeah. So knowing this person in need, all right, and affirming that person, affirming that girl. And the third takeaway that I got from this short lesson that you gave is about reciprocity. All right, I think it's so important today in today's global world. All right, we are not standalones. We depend or we are interdependent on each other.
Yes.
Right, so the relationship makes a lot of sense to me. Right, so that was lesson 4, which is about relationships. Let's move to lesson 5.
Now, about relationships, we move on to the next topic, which is basically, to me, a very important topic, which we do not really discuss much about, I think, in the marketplace or in whatever we possibly learn at seminars. John put a lot of emphasis to say that we have to move from good intentions to good actions. And what does that really mean? Because John says many people have good intentions, but not many live a life of intentionality. He means to say that he said we have dreams, we have hopes, and we want to do a lot of things. But most of the time, it is just good intentions. We don't really translate that into actions. Because with good intentions, without actions, it will just remain good intentions. There will be no change. But if you have good intentions and we deliberately or intentionally put it into action or put it into motion, so to speak, then we will be able to achieve whatever we want to achieve. For example, I used to share with some people that if we want our children to be a doctor, let's say, of course, what must you excel in? You must excel in the science subjects. And don't even talk about excelling in the science subjects. You have to be in the science stream. You have to get into the science stream. And therefore, as a parent, if I want my son to be a doctor, I will obviously groom him to pay attention on the science subjects so that it can go into the science stream. And after the science stream, and of course, then you have to know what he wants to major in, to focus on different subjects, and then the process goes on. But if we follow through those initial steps, we will definitely be able to accomplish that hope, the dream we have for our kids, that is to be a doctor. But if you just let him do what he wants, and children sometimes they don't know what they want. If, I like arts, I'm going to spend a lot of time in arts, then you forget about being a doctor. So it is only good intentions that we want them to be, but we are not helping them to take action to achieve what they want to be. And therefore, John says the same thing, that we can have good intentions, but if we do not put it into action, we will not see the dream being accomplished. I like what he said, hope is not a strategy. You don't hope to be successful, you intentionally want to be successful. And one of those ways will be personal growth, that's what he said. But you got to do something. It's not just about discussion, it's not just about dreaming, it's just not about sharing, but it is about action. You need to take action. And therefore, a life of intentionally will put into motion, for us, I think, to have a purposeful life. Because we can then accomplish what we want to accomplish, not just dreaming, not just sharing, but we actually can take concerted steps to accomplish what we want to accomplish. And someone says in the book that isn't it great that you do not even need to waste a single minute to live a life of intention, of good intention. You can do something to people because good intentions basically we also want to add value to people, as John says. And it is important for us to not only value ourselves, we need to see value in people and add value to people. So I think living a life of intentionality will be very purposeful for each and everyone. And I like that, and I learned that from John, and I try to live my life, and that's why I'm spending my life sharing leadership, because I believe in that. And I am putting into action what I believe in, hoping to influence people, hoping to help people to have the values to be a great leader, and therefore I be able to, what John says, to transform the world if possible.
You remind me of a lot of us during 1st January each year, during New Year. We all have all this New Year resolution, but we do nothing of after a few days.
Down, right?
All right. And you also remind me of the famous saying that a lot of us have, which is NATO or NATO, no action, talk only. All right, yeah. So this is John Maxwell's advice for us, right? Yeah. So to live a life of intentionality, and you have sort of lived it because of your being mission driven in this Million Leaders mandate. You have taught a lot of participants and leaders. Like, how many leaders have you taught roughly? Give us like a ballpark figure.
I wouldn't really know, but collectively in Equip, I remember the figures were we have actually trained over 5 million leaders. That is the Million Leaders mandate in 196 countries. And of course, with Beyond Success now, we are also into more than 70 countries, and we are still growing, and we are still sharing Beyond Success with as many people as possible. And of course, we have also trained thousands, and we hope to continue to train more, right? Which I'm going to invite you to join us, at the end of the program, to be involved with Beyond Success as well. Thank you.
Right. So that is a lesson 5. You want to talk more about lesson 6 now?
So why did John coin the word Beyond Success? A lot of people ask, okay, Beyond Success, what is that going to lead to? And what John says is so very, I would say, significant and intentional is, he said that if you enjoy significance, you will never settle for success. Which means to say that if you enjoy success, you don't remain to be successful. You should move beyond success to be a leader of significance. And he simply gave a contrast which is so simple. He says success is all about me. What we have achieved and whatever else we have done, and of course we have made it, but we do not have to stop there, because if it's about me, life is not just about me. There are other people around us, and he encourages us to move on beyond success to be a leader of significance. And the difference is significance is about other people. And I want to share a story about this boy. Again, it's about shoes. Maybe many of you would have heard it, many of you have seen it, but it leaves a very deep impression in me for many, many years when I did the Million Leaders Mandate, and I came across this video. The video show of a young boy in a railway station. He was a rich kid, so he was wearing the Adidas shoes, which is really something, those days. And of course, there were many, many people in the station. And this particular boy, who is very poor by contrast, was actually fixed on his shoes, because this boy literally only actually had no shoes. And then the video went to show that when the train arrived, there was a big rush to get onto the train. And the boy, called by the parents, have to rush up to the train. But because it was a new pair of shoes, and it was like rather loose, I think, so he kind of like lost one pair of the shoes. But anyway, he rushed up. And of course, when he rushed up, the train was drawing away. And the other shoe was on the platform. And the other one was on his leg. But you find that very soon, the boy, for whatever reason, took off the shoe, the other shoe, which he was still wearing, onto the platform. And then later on, when the parents asked him, why did you throw away the other shoe? And that little boy, which was really, I would say, amazing, answered the parents, what good would it be to me if I just have one shoe? There's no good to me, no use to me. But if I were to throw it on the platform, which I did, if someone picked up, then someone can enjoy the pair of shoes. Now, this is a young boy speaking to the parents. And you know who this young boy was? He was none other than Gandhi. And you can see that Gandhi became such a great man in India, isn't it? The liberation of India. And it started basically believing in people, intentionally adding value to people, and love them unconditionally. Now, he doesn't know who's going to pick up the pair of shoes, but it doesn't matter to him, but it's of some benefit to someone. And for a young boy to have the kind of a concept, it is really awesome. And can you imagine if all of us think like he does? What would the world be? One of love, one of great relationships, one of caring and sharing, right? And that's what living a life of significance is about. That's what John says. It's the seeing the value in every person. Because every person has value. We don't know what their value is, but every person has value. And if you want to be a significant leader, we should then intentionally add value to them, if possible, every day. Not easy, but I guess if you do it like John has been doing it about 50 over years, it become a natural. That instantly he will want to add value to people, and then you must believe in them. Why do we need to believe in people? Because I think nowadays, with all the scams going on, it's very difficult to believe in anyone. You can't even believe in the phone call, if you do not know, the number, you're not going to pick it up. And then love them unconditionally. Because people have so many conditions in life, even to love. And sometimes we parents are the culprits as well. We too give conditions to our children, or you don't do well in school, we are not going to love you, and whatever negative things we say to children, which is wrong. Because everyone has value, right? And we share that principle like John did. I think that's what we call nation transformation, global transformation. Changing values, adding values to people, sharing those values. And obviously then it's not going to be the same world we are living now. And therefore I think all these principles, all these lessons that John had put together in our notebook called Beyond Success, they are, as I say, common topics, but they are so significant, so effective for each and every one of us. Yes.
Right. So don't just exist.
Yes.
Live a life of significance. Know how to add value to others.
Yes.
Right, as I said.
Believe
right.
in them.
Yeah. Okay. And Gandhi started young. Just throwing his shoes away.
Yes. So it is a process again, right? Having the right values, learning the right values, and he became such a great leader. Even now, everybody knows him if you learn history. Yes, and of course there are many other people as well. Yeah. So they are our role models where we can be something like that, like them, but not as great as they are. But we can do little things which can add value to people. Like for example, during the MCO, we are all caught up in our own respective gardens. We do have security guards and whatnot, but I intentionally make it a point every month. I will give some pocket money to the security guard because we know they don't really have enough, and they live in a community. So I say you share with people, and when Christmas comes, I will buy a hamper for them. Nothing much, but I think it gives value to them in the sense that some people know and value what I'm doing, in this community about being paid, but I am also a human being. I need to be noticed, and everybody need encouragement, everybody enjoys appreciation, and therefore we don't need to be so stingy with that. Right? We can be a bit more generous when we talk to people, be nice to people, say nice things, instead of always angry for whatever reason, we don't even know sometimes. But I think it's a big help to the receiving end, to the other person. And therefore, John says, we do not need, or even Mother Teresa says, we don't need to do big things, but we can do little things with great love. Right. And I think if everybody does that, it just makes the world go round. We can bring transformation. And that's what John Maxwell aspires to do, that is nation transformation, by just adding value to people, putting value on people, believing in people, and loving people. That's the message.
Right. Thank you for sharing that example of you giving to your security guards. That's very generous.
Nothing much, actually.
So we're moving towards the tail part of our episode today, all right? And as usual with all the episodes, we ask our guests to leave us with 3 tips. So what are your 3 tips that you're going to leave us with, Eileen?
I would like to say that I wouldn't say 3 tips, I would say the 3 most important subjects which are closest to my heart in relation to Beyond Success is basically firstly about relationships, because I'm one person who believes in relationship. In my younger days, I used to be a PR consultant, and I really enjoy my job because I like people, and therefore my clients became my friends, and we built great relationships, and some of them I still am in touch this day. So that is the power of building relationship. And with relationship, I always feel that it is going to unite people, as I said, help people to understand each other, help people to appreciate each other. And I think what we need is more peace, and not talking about war, which is harmful to everyone. So relationship building will be actually a first step in putting a lot of things right in the community, in the society, I would think. Because relationship bridges any race, any issues, everything can be discussed, and we can always have amicable agreement. And again, talking about living a life of intentionality, to me that's very important. It is something new, because most part of my life I didn't really live it intentionally. It's just one of those things. You grow up, you have a good job, you find you get married and do other things which you want, start family and whatnot, and that's life. But then from learning to John, there's more to that than life. You can make a difference. You can live a life of intentionality. And so I think that really helped me. And as I've said, I will always want to do this to share with people with Beyond Success, which I'm going to speak a little bit more later on, which can make a difference in people's life. But we just need to be intentional about doing that, sharing with people. And living a life of significance, it is important to me as well. And I think it gives a lot of purpose to other people, because life is all about purpose. Otherwise, many people ask, what is life? So life means different things to different people. But I guess if you live a life of significance, it gives you much more depth, much more satisfaction. As John says, it gives you joy. And not just being happy, but it is really joy, because there is more solid and more in-depth and more lasting. When you can see change in people, you can help people to be different, to be transformed, so to speak, as John says. And therefore, these 3 topics I think are important to me, and I believe can be important to many people. And if we share these type of values, then we can make a big difference in people's life. And I really liked what John said some time ago. I learned from him is, I want to be a person to make a difference, doing things that make a difference with people who want to make a difference at a time that we can make a difference. So all of us can make a difference. And this can happen if I invite you to participate in Beyond Success. Beyond Success, as I mentioned earlier on, is a global initiative created by Dr. John C Maxwell, with the 6 topics which I briefly summarized a while ago with Chris. And so we do the training for free, absolutely no charge. And this is John's gift to the world. It is free. Freely we receive, freely we give. And we also have a notebook whereby we go through the lessons. As I said, beside the lessons, we also have a video by John. And by the way, Equip, for your information, is the world's largest leadership development organization. So it is a powerhouse, I would say, whereby John certifies leadership, teaches leadership, coaches leadership, and therefore it is something that people should consider to look at, because all these are from John, but of course we don't have John sharing with you apart from the video, but we are sharing those resources of John with all of you. And it is simple. It is not like coming in to listen to a lesson, because listening at seminars and conferences would be information based. You come in to learn. But Beyond Success, we are doing facilitation. So facilitation, as I shared in the beginning, it is basically about reflection, taking action step, but at the same time also sharing our life experiences. And if we have a teachable spirit of personal growth, we can actually learn from anybody and everybody, and we can learn so much by listening to other people sharing. Those people who come in to join us Beyond Success. So we basically have a group of maybe 6 to 8 to start off with, and one lesson will take about 1 hour. We can either do it online or we can do it on site depending on the location. And we just basically come in to prepare a lesson and share our answers, share our action step, because it is easier to change when you are in a group. On your own, it is very difficult to change because bad habits die hard. But if we come together as a group like we do in Beyond Success on several occasions, depending on the frequency to run the lessons, and that is not mandatory as to how often you need to do it, we can then encourage each person to change, to take action step to change. So Beyond Success will be very effective for those people, firstly, who want to see transformation in themselves and subsequently transformation in other people, and be part of the transformation movement, as John says, to bring global transformation, if possible in every country, and I guess that's what we aspire to do. And the initiative is also in different languages. We have translated the resources into, I think, 80 over languages. So any language you want, we have that. And we will have a facilitator to come in to facilitate the group, and we'll journey with you to complete the 7 lessons. And when the 7 lessons are completed, if you have 100% attendance, we will also give you a certificate of completion signed by Dr. John C Maxwell. So we will give the website, give the contact or our Facebook page soon after this video. And if you are interested, do contact us, do call us, and yes, we can get started. And it will be a beginning of transformation of self as well as transformation maybe in your community, to bring back those values which are not so common these days for us. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Eileen, for
welcome.
coming to our episode and share these beautiful lessons with us in Beyond Success. So, dear viewers, you heard it from Eileen Lim just a moment ago, to live a life of significance, and she's always stressed on transformation, and she is the prime role model for this, even at her age. So transformation in ourselves, all right, transformation in the people we care about, and bring on, all right, these transformations in your schools, in your communities, and even in your workplaces. And the beautiful word which I heard, or we heard from Eileen, is it's free. Right? Yeah. So if you look down below, right, you'll find the links and the Facebook to Eileen's Beyond Success. So check it out. Right? Yeah. So that's it for today. Thank you very much, Eileen, for coming in and sharing these 6 lessons with us to help all of us to live a life of significance. Right, so thank you very much for coming in today, for viewing our episode. We will see you in our next episode. Do subscribe and check us out in other episodes too. All right, so take care, and see you in other episodes.
Yes, thank you very much, Chris, for having me, and thank you to all of you for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing all of you, if possible, or if not, some of you, to join us at Beyond Success. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, then. Bye.